No one tells you that ambition leaves quietly, not because you failed, but because the noise that guided you finally disappears. Being 22, I haven't lost direction, but I lost the voice that told me what came next. And for the first time, I have to listen on my own. College trains you to believe your life is a sequence of steps. From the time you're 5 years old, someone has handed you a map. Going to school, doing well, getting into a good college, picking a major, get internships, network, graduate. Then next steps. Rarely question the map while you're following it, because there's always another checkpoint, another syllabus, another deadline, another metric telling you whether you're on track. So when college ends, it's not just an ending, it's a complete disappearance. Suddenly, no one hands you the next steps. And for the first time, the obligation isn't to a system or a timeline, it's to being alive in a world. The freedom is intoxicating, but absolutely terrifying. Everyone tells you this is where life begins, but no one tells you how disorienting it feels when the structure you've relied on for nearly 2 decades vanishes overnight. I didn't lose my ambition because I stopped caring. I lost it because I didn't know what direction it was supposed to point to anymore. There's a specific kind of panic that comes from realizing you can do anything, but feeling like you're supposed to choose the right thing immediately or get the right opportunity immediately, as if every decision now carries permanent consequences, as if one wrong move means you failed at adulthood before it's even begun. But freedom is what I've wanted all this time, and I finally found it. The pressure of freedom does something subtle. It doesn't motivate you, it freezes you. Paralysis. I started confusing certainty with ambition, and because I didn't feel certain, I assumed something was wrong. At the same time, my relationships were changing. Suddenly required planning. People moved away, schedules stopped overlapping, group chats went and fell silent. There's an unspoken grief that comes with realizing that proximity, not love, was what made friendships easy. But love was never going to be easy. It required dedication from me and from others. No one tells you that distance isn't a sign of failure. It's just a side effect of growing up and responsibility. But when you're already questioning your dedication, that distance can feel personal, like you're drifting, not just from people, but from the very version of yourself you used to recognize, from everything you once understood so clearly. Family dynamics shift too, often in ways you don't expect. You're no longer just a kid following instructions, but not quite a stable adult everyone assumes you are. You start seeing your parents as people with their own fears, limitations, and capabilities. Expectations start to change. Roles start to blur. Sometimes support feels conditional. Sometimes independence feels mistaken for distance. And all of this happens at once. Loss of structure, loss of certainty, distance from friends, changing family roles. It's no wonder why ambition struggles to survive in that kind of environment. For a while, I thought ambition meant knowing exactly what job I wanted, exactly where I wanted to live, exactly who I wanted to become. I thought not knowing meant I was behind, but eventually I realized something uncomfortable. Ambition doesn't disappear, it changes shape. When I stopped chasing a predefined version of success, ambition stopped being about achievement and started being about alignment. Instead of asking, what's the next step, I started asking, what actually makes me feel alive? That question sounds simple, but is surprisingly hard to answer when you've spent most of your life optimizing for approval, grades, outcomes. Creativity doesn't come back on command. Passion doesn't respond to pressure, necessarily. It returns quietly, in fragments, just as it had disappeared. It shows up when you let yourself make things out without monetizing them, when you read without turning it into a productivity checklist, when you create without planning, and how it will be received. I didn't find ambition by forcing a 5-year plan. I found it by letting myself be curious again. Curiosity is ambition's quieter sibling. It doesn't demand certainty. It just asks you to pay attention. What do you keep coming back to, even when no one's watching? What ideas linger longer than they should have? What makes time feel different? For the first time since childhood, there was no predefined next step awaiting me, and that absence felt like standing on the edge of something vast. It's daunting that the world doesn't seem to owe you direction, but it's also freeing to realize that this is why you're not limited. I had always been told that life moves in fixed lines, from the age of 5 to your first job, from your first job to stability, from stability to success. But now, standing at a crossroads, I realize linear paths are mostly paths that we sell to make uncertainty feel manageable. Real life doesn't move in lines. It loops, it pauses, it detours, and ambition isn't about sprinting forward. It's about staying engaged with your own life and needs and interest. I'm still figuring things out. I don't have a perfect answer or a neatly packaged ending. Some days the freedom still feels heavy. Some days the lack of structure still scares me. But I have stopped treating uncertainty like a flaw. Not knowing doesn't mean you're lost. It means you no longer are being carried by a system that you were promised would work. And maybe that's what ambition really looks like at this stage. Not a clear destination, but a willingness to keep moving forward, to keep creating, to keep choosing fulfillment over fear, to ignore the voices of people who have never been in your shoes. For the first time, the obligation isn't to a path that someone else laid out for you. What may have worked for them. You are not them. It's to build a life that actually feels like mine. That might be the most ambitious thing I've ever done. Learning exactly what it is I want.